The Managed Forest Council is BC's independent agency responsible for administering the Private Managed Forest Land Act and regulations. Council's mandate is to encourage and regulate best forest management practices on private managed forest land. This includes protecting key environmental values, soil conservation, water quality, fish habitat, reforestation, critical wildlife habitat. Landowners participate in the program on a voluntary basis. Managed forest land is a property assessment class established to encourage private landowners to manage their lands for long-term forest production. The remaining private forest land is often classed as farm or residential land. How does Council ensure compliance? Council uses a number of mechanisms to measure performance: investigations, audits and inspections, compliance determinations. In 2022, 285 private managed forests in BC, encompassing 805,000 hectares, are included in the program, representing approximately 8% of the total provincial timber harvest and 20% of coastal timber harvest. About 40% of BC's private forest land is part of the program. 20% in the Kootenays, 70% on Vancouver Island, and 10% is in the rest of the province. Did you know, in 2004, the Managed Forest Council was created to administer the forest practices component of the Managed Forest Program, which includes the legal protection of key environmental values on private managed forest land. The Private Managed Forest Land Act sets out these objectives: soil conservation, protect soil productivity by minimizing the area occupied by roads and trails, water quality, to protect human drinking water both during and after harvesting, fish habitat, to retain sufficient streamside mature trees and understory vegetation, both during and after harvesting to protect fish habitat. Reforestation. Promptly restock and successfully regenerate areas with a healthy, commercially valuable stand of trees. Critical wildlife habitat. Facilitate the long-term protection of critical wildlife habitat. The Council is responsible for the administration of private managed forest land legislation. This includes the setting and monitoring of forest practices standards, performing audits, and enforcing standards. How does Council assess performance? Inspections, stakeholder input, owner self-reporting. Through a rigorous inspection program carried out by registered forest professionals that currently inspects an average of 60 managed forests around the province each year, the managed forest owner compliance rate has been 99%. 20% of managed forests are inspected each year. By listening and talking to stakeholders concerned with forest management activity in their local community, and through the review of owner-initiated slide assessment reports required by regulation. How does Council measure compliance? Council measures owner compliance by carrying out field reviews that collect evidence associated with possible non-compliant activity. Through investigations initiated when field reviews provide evidence of possible non-compliant activity. How does Council enforce compliance? Through consent agreements and Council determinations. A consent agreement where the owner and Council agree a non-compliance event is occurring or has occurred may include a penalty, remediation, or both. A formal counsel determination where an owner is provided an opportunity to be heard may include a penalty, remediation, or both. Consent agreements may contain penalties up to $5,000, whereas a formal counsel determination may contain penalties of up to $25,000 per non-compliant event. Visit mfcounsel.ca for more information or to contact us with your question.